Well, my guest today is the very young composer, Vonn Vanier. Welcome, Vonn.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And you have a new CD that's coming out. I just want to ask you the question, how do you get to be a successful composer at such a young age? You're at the beginning of your career. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you got to where you are.
Sure. Well, I'd say it all started in third grade. And at that point, I had joined a choir that was connected to my school, and it was a professional choir. And so we were singing all sorts of things like Mozart's Requiem and a variety of other classical works. And so during my time as part of that choir, I was able to, really build my interest in classical music and learn a variety of theory and musicianship and a wide array of musical knowledge. And so that's what helped me to sort of build up the fundamentals that I needed to become a composer. And then so in eighth grade, COVID hit, and so the choir basically shut down. But that allowed me a lot of time to work on improvising on the piano, studying music theory on my own, which was a new passion of mine. And by the end of eighth grade, I had my first ever composition written, which was a hymn for the choir that the choir, once we reassembled after COVID, performed at my graduation in eighth grade, and it was truly, truly an inspiring and exciting experience for me as an eighth grader to hear that happen. And so from there, my interest blossomed. I continued to study composition and was very fortunate to be accepted and have gone to the past 3 summers to the Boston University Tanglewood Institute, which is where I've been able to study with professors like Doctors Martin Amlin and Dr. Len Teta from Boston University, and have been able to sort of grow my skills and interest from there.
Are you from a musical family? I mean, did somebody introduce you to this music?
Yeah, well, my parents don't do a lot of music, but I'd say between the choir and also, having just while my parents don't play music a lot, having just heard it around the house on the radio, at dinner, in the car, when basically at any opportunity to hear it, was sort of also how my interest blossomed. And so I remember from as long back as I can remember in my childhood, I always remember hearing that music in the background, and my parents would sort of say, "Oh, Vaughn, can you identify, is this a symphony or a concerto, and can you name what it is?" And so that's how I started to learn about repertoire and gain interest.
Let's talk about your debut album, Dawn, from Montclair Records. Can you tell us what your music is on this disc?
Yeah, so there's a sort of wide variety. There are orchestral works, chamber pieces, and also one solo piano work. And I'd say that variety isn't just in terms of the ensembles that are in the album Dawn, but also just in terms of the mood and the styles of each. You have these big orchestral works like Rhapsody in C minor, Lost at Home, that are supposed to sort of convey a sense of strength, and power to them. You also have these sort of much smaller, more lighthearted works like Bloom for wind quintet and Shimmer for piano quintet, that have a joyful quality, but are also supposed to sort of represent a kind of ethereal quality as well to them in certain points. And
Yeah.
then, you also have even some more atonal, kind of energetic, fast, unexpected works like OPCI for solo piano and Jagged, that are supposed to really, you know, keep the momentum and energy going, and really shock the audience. And so with the album, I've been very fortunate to work with a variety of very talented people. Jeremy Cohen, who's won in his time 8 Grammy Awards for his work, was the producer, and I also worked with the Skywalker Symphony Orchestra, Quinteto Latino Wind Quintet, Quartet, San Francisco String Quartet, and a variety of others as well.
How did that album come to be? I mean, who thought of it in the first place? Who wanted to put it together? And, you've talked a little bit about your collaborators as well.
Right. Well, so the album basically came about through Jeremy Cohen, the producer, and his associated record label, Montclair Records. And so actually, it's sort of looking back on it, it's kind of an amazing little coincidence of fate that I was lucky enough to meet Mr. Cohen through the choir. And he was playing as the concert master when for Christmas concerts, and occasionally every year we do these sort of choir concerts with an orchestral ensemble. And so over the years I got to know him, and I stayed in touch even after 8th grade, and he took an interest in my work, and eventually it just it came to be that way.
Yeah, I don't remember 8th grade at all.
Mhm.
I have to say. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of variety on this disc. How would you categorize your music or your style? How would you describe it to the first time listener?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, as a young composer, I haven't found a very specific voice yet. And so I'd say that sort of manifests itself in the album, in that, you hear a lot of diversity in terms of the style. But what I would say is, just in general, what I like to do with my music is make it exciting and energetic. And so you'll hear in a lot of the works on the album mixed meters and just sort of unpredictability to them. And in particular, growing sort of momentum and movement and energy, and then sudden drops, kind of like Beethoven did to a certain extent. But yeah, I like to also make the music, sort of harmonically driven, and so you'll hear that in Shimmer, lots of different harmonies, from the chordal harmony to these very colorful whole tone harmonies, and a variety more.
Yeah, you mentioned Shimmer. You also mentioned Beethoven, and I can hear, especially in the codas at the end, your little nod to
Mhm.
Beethoven. Um, it's really interesting to listen to music of a young composer, because you don't know, as you said, exactly what direction you're going to move in as you find your voice.
Right.
Are there other composers besides Beethoven that you admire and emulate?
Mhm.
And what do you see happening 10 years, 20 years down the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm also influenced, in addition to Beethoven, by, well, on the classical and romantic side, I also really like Brahms as a personal favorite of mine. So Beethoven and Brahms would be the two main ones there. But I also draw influence from more contemporary composers like Schoenberg. Certainly manifests itself in a very obvious way in the solo piano work OPCI. And also, I draw inspiration from film music as well. And Hans Zimmer has always been a personal favorite. So I like to think Rhapsody in C minor, you definitely hear that sort of style as well. And, in 20 to 30 years, we'll see. It's hard to know right now, but I think certainly as I continue to develop as a composer, and as my style, evolves, and I draw inspiration from different composers, it's hard to know, but I like to mix those styles in a unique way, and find a nice balance between tonal, more traditional music, and kind of more novel, atonal music, and to balance them in a unique way.
Well, you're off to a great start. I've been talking with composer Vonn Vanier, whose music is going to be on Dawn, which is the name of a CD or an album that you've created, all of your own music. I want to thank you so much for spending time with us, and we look forward for what's to come.
Thank you for having me.